think that Kelazhur in a lot of situations, he's a little bit, I mean, I love the guy, but he is a little bit unreliable in his performance, and it seems like this event, he's only played a few matches so far, but he hasn't had the greatest showing, whereas HellraiseR, I mean, he's taken out some really solid Terran players. I believe he actually took out Thermal as well. Like, he's had a really sick run, so I'm really excited for him.
All right, gentlemen, well, it's time to head over to the commentary team here for our first best of 5 of the day.
Thank you very much, guys. Let's get started here. We've entered best of 5 city, and starting in the bottom right-hand side of the map, playing as the Blue Protoss, it is HellraiseR.
And you hear the crowd here, Todd. It's amazing. And they're all cheering for that Ukrainian, their homeboy, their hometown hero. But spawning over in the top left side, hailing from Brazil, currently living in the Netherlands, it is Kelazhur.
The final round of the knockout brackets before sending us straight into the playoffs here. A very important matchup between these two. Both players, I would say they've played pretty impressively so far in the tournament, but only one of them can advance here. And HellraiseR here, the hometown hero, looking to try and repeat some of his previous success. Whereas I've been very impressed by him. Even in the series yesterday against Serral, which he did lose, he won the one map. He made the top dog himself bleed in Serral. And well, what do you think about this matchup in general? How do these guys match up against one another? They haven't met too much in the past.
I think this is one of the crazier matchups that we have, because Kelazhur, he's often off the radar, right? Like, where does he play? What does he take part in? Like, he moved to Europe, he announced that he's kind of part-time these days, but he's playing as good as ever, and he always makes it pretty deep into the WCS circuit. So when these guys go up against each other, I think the first few games of the series are definitely going to be like testing each other out, testing the waters, dipping your toes a little bit, and just maybe opening up with something safe. And you asked me about HellraiseR. He's a guy that actually has it all. Like, some of the strategies that he's been pulling out, like the final game against Serral, the proxy 2-gate with the Forge to try and get a cheeky win out of it, he's a scary player to go up against.
I'm sure you've met HellraiseR plenty on the ladder in Terran versus Protoss. Like, what can you tell us about his style and how he likes to play in general?
HellraiseR is a walking Colossus. Like, I don't think there's ever going to be a map where he doesn't make the Colossus. Now, he's doing a little bit of poking here, a little bit of damage, and one thing that he gets to see here very early on is, well, he gets to see the command center going up. And on the other side of the map, we do have an SCV. Now, I don't believe a Reaper was made this game, and this is definitely a map where getting a Reaper, trying to scout against your opponent is kind of difficult, right? Because you've only got one entrance into the main, and that's through the natural. And one thing that Kelazhur is known for, as Rotterdam did say in the analyst desk, it's for his dropping and also his aggression.
Yeah, so it's going to be information through aggression, also a great way to play. Like, obviously, there's still stuff that could catch you off guard. Say there was like a very aggressive proxied Stargate or something like that, but the Widowmines are also there to kind of cover that. Like, if you were to get lucky and blow up that first Oracle. And you've mentioned it, HellraiseR, he has the one style, like he likes to go for stuff like Colossus. Usually these kind of players, they like to rely on their main solid style rather than, you know, throwing a lot of crazier builds. And I'm pretty sure that this is what Kelazhur is going to expect. And neither player in game number 1 playing like overly aggressive or anything. Like, Kelazhur is known for his proxies as well. It's a best of 5. You have more room to try for stuff like that, but we're not going to be seeing anything like that in map number 1.
I think that's a good point that you bring up. Like, they are both testing each other out. Like, I don't know how often they've played before. Like, they come from very, very different regions, and now both of them scouted with one of their workers. I know that's normal for a Protoss, but for a Terran, definitely a little unusual. Now, HellraiseR does get to scout about, and he does probably know from what he's seen, given the lack of add-ons on those tech structures, that a Widowmine drop is most likely coming. Now, you do see that medevac marching across the map.
And all like from HellraiseR, we had an Immortal being made, and then he goes straight into the War Prism. Oh, actually, no, I thought he made a... Okay, no, that was... He's just been getting 5 Stalkers for now, and he goes straight into the War Prism. I think he might have cancelled the Immortal that I thought I saw starting. So, with a very quick timing like this on the Robo Bay, there is a chance, you know, he does more than just going for Colossus. Let's see if the defense is there. Yeah, just going to be one probe and one probe.
Oh, he actually dealt with that really well, and Kelazhur tries to pick up the Widowmine, and it does suffer a massive blow here, and Ukraine, they love it. They love what they're seeing here, because that is a damn good start for HellraiseR.
Yeah, very nicely handled there. But yeah, as the Robobay finishes, I guess he was busy defending against this. Now HellraiseR has a choice. He could go for something like Gravitic Drive. We've seen, you know, disruptor drops being used early on, but you mentioned it. He's a walking Colossus, and it's the way you described him. And Hey, he's gonna start Gravity Drive actually.
Oh, so I mean, this could be some like proper cheeky play with like some Colossus drop going on. Now, one of the things that he definitely has to worry about though is what is the tech choice of Kelazhur, because he does have a Raven. If there's one thing that can stop a Colossus from dropping and even being picked up, it is a Raven.
Maybe a 3 Adept swap in the first place to try and kill some SCVs here and there. It's gonna be pretty hard for Terran to properly shut this down if they don't see it coming. Like, you know, if you get the first drop in with the Prism and you start on killing SCVs, it's even usually just enough to just kind of pull back and be happy with the damage you've done.
And Observer's showing here that Kelazhur, he knows everything that's going on. He did have a large section of his army in his main base. That Observer gets... Oh, did it actually die?
Yeah.
Oh, it did die. So that's a nice pick-off.
I used an auto turret for it though.
I think it's a decent trade, especially if it's like a game of vision, because by the looks of it, this Warp Prism, it's not getting that much done because Kelazhur was very, very safe with the tank at home. Also, already making a Viking to deal with that Warp Prism. So I really feel that Kelazhur has a good read on this game and what's going on.
Yeah, we'll see if he starts. Usually from there, it's either going to be the 3rd command center or 2 more additional barracks. And from there, you can just keep... You can decide whether you keep on upgrading and macroing, or if you stay low on upgrades and play a lot more aggressive. And in this case, we haven't had any kind of armory or second eBay starting just yet. Before that, obviously, you would have to choose between the barracks or the additional command center.
And I tell you what, Todd, Kelazhur hasn't been making SCVs for quite a bit of time now, and this is a large army that he's moving out with. He will meet HellraiseR, and this is a bit of a gnarly spot to move through because one force field can stop that army moving around. So HellraiseR was quick to stop that approach. Yeah. He does see the Warp Prism, though, so he knows the next point of attack will probably be at his natural. This is a bit of a dicey game now for Kelazhur.
And it's very important for HellraiseR to buy time the way it just did it as well, because the quicker this push gets across the map, the scarier it's going to be. It's just one single tank, but the Raven, we've seen what it can do against some of these Colossi in particular. The Warp Prism actually getting caught on the other side of the map by the one Viking. Thankfully, it's got Gravity Drive, so it should be able to get away. And we had the 3rd command center start here on Kelazhur's side of the map, which he followed up with 2 more additional barracks.
Kelazhur's been so safe with how he's been doing things, and this looks like he's got the main army on the map that's sharking around, hoping to pull him out of position with this medevac drop that's actually going to the main base of HellraiseR, and this could be pretty scary, and there are adepts moving into the natural of Kelazhur, and there are no battle units here, just one Marauder.
And by the way, take note that there is no observer on the bottom side of the map from HellraiseR, so he has no idea that his 2 medivacs loaded up with units are headed for his main base.
He just blew himself up with all of those Widow Mines. That actually worked against Kelazhur, I feel. The supplies are really darn close, and those medevacs, they are moving to the main base, but also there's a Warp Prism in the main base of Kelazhur. This is getting chaotic.
He might have to recall a chunk of his army here to defend him properly against this, because just warpings might not be enough. There's a massive Artosis pylon in the main base as well, while Blink is being researched there.
Oh my gosh, that is an Artosis pylon if I've ever seen one. He gets rid of the Colossus tech building, so no longer can Colossus be made. And yes, a massive Artosis pylon. He didn't have enough energy to recall. And Kelazhur is also pressuring the 3rd base here, just looking to deal damage.
Yeah, Kelazhur is waiting for HellraiseR to maybe overextend. The Raven is ready and in position. On the other side, the Warp Prism is being dealt with. He's still alive, but all of the units were sniped there. And the drop in the main base still doing damage. Looks like HellraiseR is finally going to be able to clean that up, but he gets engaged into his Colossus.
Oh, and the Raven, it does take out the Colossus there. They are inactive for the time being, but HellraiseR being calm. That Immortal, though, runs across the main army of Kelazhur. That is not good, not healthy at all. And the drop in the main base is still active, still poking away. He's making this so difficult. And the thing is, HellraiseR can't spend his money. He's got 1,000 minerals and 500 gas. That Artosis pylon really biting him in the butt.
Yeah, he needs to remake a whole bunch of them here.
I tell you what,
didn't finish.
That Warp Prism still alive and still gets away. This Viking, by the way, has really shut down that Warp Prism. That was worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, chasing it all around the map. Earlier around the natural base and now around the main base. And Kelazhur starting a 2nd starport. I like this a lot against the Colossus deck, because there's 3 Colossi and you can know that there might be more. So just in the case there would be, I think getting up to a good Viking count is going to be very important. And he lost, I think, yeah, he took a lot of damage on at least one of his medivacs. So very important to keep that up.
As a support unit, too, the way he's been using that tank has been really good. And HellraiseR has actually been really good about dealing with these Widow Mine drops thus far. Pulls his probes immediately, but look at Kelazhur. Doesn't just leave them, he hunts down these probes. And this is all lost mining time. Even a Stalker going down here. This is a little bit rough now, a little bit rough, and gets away with the medevac 2 and all 4 Widow Mines. Great play.
This is so well done every time by Kelazhur to anticipate the pickup and then get out. And Kelazhur completed 1-1 upgrades, by the way, for his bio. He dropped down an armory, and now he's going into the +2 attack. So he's definitely keeping up with the upgrades as to make sure not to fall behind against what you know is going to be at least one Forge a lot of the time too, as we see the second one here in the production tab. And Storm is now on the way for HellraiseR. I like this a lot because we've already seen how Kelazhur is going to counterattack the Colossus with a lot of Vikings, but he's not even thinking, I think, about Ghosts right now.
No, this Warp Prism, man, that is playing with death right there. Now, on the other side of the
map...
Marine!
The Marine! He's intercepting the Prism!
Oh, and he got it! That was really clean by Kelazhur, and you see there's been nothing but 4 Viking production in his mineral line. Just going with the medevac again with the Widow Mines, and HellraiseR, is this a late pull? Oh, nice detonations! 8 probes, 9 probes fall. And the supplies, they're actually really good for Kelazhur right now.
Yeah, they are.
It looks like he's going to go, probably going to be hitting a really darn solid timing. The thing is, Storm is finished now, and we know what Storm can do to this kind of army.
It's 10 Vikings to 3 Colossi, so if he micros this properly, if he pulls back his bio as the Vikings start dealing with the army, but Storm is going to be the big problem. Some of these start landing on top of this army. Kelazhur is trying to kite us to make sure that those Storms don't land too massively on his army. So far, he's doing a pretty decent job.
I tell you what, though, this is a nice position for Kelazhur. The Vikings cannot be hit by the Stalkers. They are taking out the Colossus one by one. The upgrades are pretty decent for Kelazhur too, and there's only 1 Colossi remaining, but the bio army of Kelazhur is so red. The charge lot flank as well. They are both butchering each other, and they have both suffered tremendous losses on both sides, but HellraiseR, he stays alive.
Yeah, Kelazhur had to steam a whole bunch of times. His bio was kind of crumped, and even though there was 1 Colossus left over, that guy was just not dying from the 3 Vikings, so it kept on dealing splash damage to this army, as well as the Archon. And now it looks like Kelazhur is going to have to set up here for the defense against this counterattack from HellraiseR, who's a little bit hesitant. The Prism,
and a full medevac goes down. That is a tremendous snipe. There's only 1 medevac alive to keep this army, or in fact, a second and third do join. But the Vikings, they're useless right now. They have to land to try and deal with this army. HellraiseR, he's taking really good fights, but, you know, he's allowed to reset. He can go back and get those full energy High Templars. He's got a 4th base up and running now, even looking like he's ready to take a 5th base. He's feeling comfortable, but the supplies, they're still so close between these 2 players.
And remember that HellraiseR lost the Robo Bay earlier when he was dropped in the main base, so now he's having to remake that to go back into the Colossus deck. You want to make sure you get some more of these guys, especially as you kill and trade with the Vikings in a lot of these fights. Like, having High Templars is nice, but if you can get both High Templars and Colossus, it makes it so much better when you're fighting against a Terran army.
Interesting choice by Kelazhur. He kind of went for the Nexus, but then pulled away. And now he's on the run, going to the main base. 1 Immortal. I don't think that's going to be enough to deal with this. And if he runs into that army, but it does look like that Forge is exposed. And if he denies +3 armor, that's actually a pretty big victory for Kelazhur. He gets it and gets out of there. Nice win for him.
Surgical precision.
As Maynard would say, surgery. Even denying this 5th base, and +3 armor starts up and yet again on the other Forge. And Kelazhur behind all this, by the way, switching into Liberator tech. Now this can make a Protoss' life very, very difficult, but HellraiseR, he's shutting down this aggression now, and he's playing aggressive with the Blinks, and also he's starting to eke a little bit of a supply lead here. I'm liking it for HellraiseR.
I think if Kelazhur can posture around the middle and siege that 4th base from the high ground with a lot of Liberators, it's going to be very, very hard for HellraiseR to actually engage into this. When you have a lot of Liberators that siege up, it's extremely hard for Protoss to move into those liberation zones and actually get a proper fight.
I guess the one saving grace for HellraiseR is they aren't ranged Liberators right now. And, oh wow, Kelazhur's even adding Ghost, so this is a massive gas tech investment. He's also thrown down a 5th CC, so he has no intention of really ending the game right now, but this is a scary army to deal with, Todd. There aren't any Tempests. In fact, what's the Stalker count?
He has to give up that base, I think, down there. Yeah, there's just not enough.
And he's set up, he's like postured with the Liberation Zones very well.
Only.
And I tell you what, Kelazhur's got back into this. Like, he's now the one with the supply lead, and he's kind of playing Ring Around the Rosie. He's got the Widow Mine set up here as well, so he has to go through this line, and now I feel if he sets up those Liberation Zones to fire at the back, which is exactly what he's doing, it's going to be hard for HellraiseR to push through.
Yeah, well, the High Templars, they're lagging a little bit behind here. They're going to move right in there. The Liberators did so much damage. Colossus comes in from behind, but having lost all of the Zealots on the ground is not going to help here. They're both trading. Looks like HellraiseR will hold on here as Kelazhur is chased away And HellraiseR evened up the supply very nicely with that defense here.
I tell you what, and resetting that Liberator count is so huge as well, because once that number gets to like 8 or so, that's when it gets super scary. But now he's back down to 4. I tell you what, though, the next wave of attacks will include Ghosts. So HellraiseR isn't out of the woods yet, but he's definitely looking pretty strong. And he just warped in 8 high Templars at once. Like, he's a rich little puppy.
That's the scary side. Like, when you're mining this much gas, keep in mind he hasn't even taken the gases on his 4th base here right now, but he was just kind of banking that, I guess, as he was making a lot of Zealots. Kelazhur scanning HellraiseR here, checking the position, making sure he gets a good engagement. The EMPs are going to be key to winning this fight in the game. And
HellraiseR, he's buying time right now. He's kind of sharking around, making it so, Kelazhur can't get to his base directly and set up liberation zones, because he needs that time. That +3 and +2, they are about to finish here. And when the more Colossus join the field, it's going to be very difficult for Kelazhur to get the right combination of units to deal with not only the High Templars, but the Colossus, and also the ground units with the Liberators.
Yeah, HellraiseR about to hit 3-2 in upgrades against the 3-1 of Kelazhur. And he drops a Dark Shrine here, late game Dark Shrine, I think, to send in a couple Dark Templars.
I tell you what, I thought Kelazhur was going to drop right into that natural base there, because it is very exposed, and he has a PF here. The Forge right there, chrono boosting away. That is a potential target here, but Kelazhur backs up. He has to repair that PF, though, against these Zealots. Is he going to do it? Are these going to be the mightiest Zealots of all time? And it's because he's distracted on the other side of the map. Oh, no way, Kelazhur!
He gets it. And HellraiseR, in the meantime, is looking to, I think, capitalize on Kelazhur looking back at home for a second. They're just attacking each other everywhere right now. HellraiseR postures forward. He attacks the 3rd base of Kelazhur. He is looking to try and land some big storms.
Oh, and a feedback on the one Ghost with energy as well. Kelazhur buys time with the liberation zones, and his drop is cleaned up on the other side of the map, but he did take out a base. The thing is, HellraiseR has another base to transfer those workers to. HellraiseR backs off against the liberation zones, but man, this is carnage on both ends.
Yeah, his income definitely took a big hit. He needs to restart at Nexus ASAP, restarts +3 attack upgrade as well. Oh, and the Dark Shrine just completed, so we'll see how he uses that. There's still the Prism towards the main base. Okay, well, there isn't anymore. That just got sniped.
I tell you what, Kelazhur's been really good at dealing with this Prism right from the start of the game to right then. He's not been able to do anything with those Warp Prisms, even with the upgrade. And right now, he's just posturing defensively. Kelazhur, he's waiting for a better and bigger army.
The problem has been the lack of EMPs in the middle of this army, I think. Because High Templars and Storm have just been landing all the time.
I tell you what, though, HellraiseR's been doing a really good job of splitting up these High Templars. He's got the full energy one at the back. The little ones run forward one at a time. So he's been making it very difficult. This PF under a lot of fire here, and a base goes down, and yet again.
Yeah, Kelazhur is really afraid to engage here. He's very wary about these High Templars, a little bit hesitant, even though the Planetary Fortress was tanking a lot of damage. One of those EMPs lands big time here, actually. A lot of these High Templars have no more energy, and actually, the High Templar count has been greatly reduced. He's down to 4, and I think they've almost all have no energy. So this might be the timing here for Kelazhur. This is it.
The thing is, though, for Kelazhur, he's pretty broke behind all this. He's at 40 workers, but his army supply is huge. And HellraiseR, he's revealed which path of attack he's going to go for, which is from behind.
Can he engage into this? There's Widow Mines, there's Liberators. He's going to blink forward.
Oh, no, the Widow Mines blow up all the Stalkers. The Liberators are set up. Look at that flock of Vikings just taking down all the Colossus. The Bio murdering. And Kelazhur takes a nice first game against HellraiseR. What a way to start off the second day of WCS Summer.
Really back and forth action all over the place. Multitask galore.
That is
PvT just how we like it.
I was just about to say that is exactly what I wanted from both of these guys. HellraiseR played a little bit crazy. Kelazhur did what we all know and love him for. Lots of multitasking, those drops continuously, just making HellraiseR's life hard. But I tell you what, HellraiseR was keeping up with him for a lot of that game.
The most impressive thing, I think, from Kelazhur is that he never really overextends with the drop. It would be so tempting to just kind of stay there for as long as you can and just get a little bit stubborn, I guess, with the drop, but he's always the right amount and in the right place, and he just micros it so well as well every single time, whether it was the Widow Mine or the drop later on that sniped the pylon that was powering the gateways. He got some key snipes in the main base too. The Robo Bay, then later on the Forge with the +3 defense upgrade.
And the pylon stopped the warp-ins, like made HellraiseR's life quite difficult. there's one thing that I really loved about Kelazhur's play. He never got stuck on tech, right?
Yeah.
It was always like, okay, this is the next wave now. It's going to have Vikings. The next wave, Liberators. The next wave, Ghosts. It was like the true evolution of Terran armies that you don't like to play. Also, he was so patient with letting the PF on the left side die, while kind of like picking apart the army a little bit, getting rid of the High Templar energy.
I thought to a fault, actually. I thought that was a mistake at the time, because the Planetary Fortress, usually when it's being engaged, that's when you want to engage into the Protoss army with your army, because the Planetary Fortress is tanking a lot of the damage. But he was like, you know what? I'm going to be more patient than that. I want to make sure that I land the EMP first. He finally landed that big EMP. There was only 4 High Templars with no more energy. He was like, it's go time. I waited for this the entire game. It's finally my time for me to go for this. And yeah, he didn't miss a beat in terms of tech or anything. Like some more European Terrans, not going to name any name, you know, they're very reluctant.
Don't look at me, Todd. Don't look at me.
I've seen some European Terrans never go into Ghost and only try to win it with Bio.
No, that
you know who I'm talking about.
Oh, I see you giving those eyes, Todd. But no, that was really good play from Kelazhur. And, you know, HellraiseR, he didn't make it easy for him, but Kelazhur, he's looking comfortable on the stage too. Like, he's just calm, he's got his hands on his lap, even kind of like doing a little bit of a mouth action there, but he looked comfortable, man, and he's truly in his element when he gets to play a game like this. I feel that if HellraiseR wants to go toe-to-toe with Kelazhur, he needs to be able to get like those Warp Prism counterattacks going, because that little 5-man Zealot squad that took out the PF, that was actually kind of crazy.
That was nuts.
And like the thing is, there was a lot of chaos going out on the map, but I think that's how you have to like try and tear Terran apart, by sending lots of stuff at him. The DTs got online way too late. They never came into like
and
to
they
do
were
anything.
turrets, PFs, like it's just very hard for them at this point. But here we are, map number 2 in this best of 5. Starting in the northeast, playing as the Blue Protoss. It is Ukraine and clashes HellraiseR.
He did a damn good job that first game, but keeping up with Kelazhur, it's a hard task, man. Definitely is.
I feel like Alex is just torturing us a little bit with the intro.
He is. He's like, I'll hang it on for a long time. Anyhow, spawning in the bottom left side, playing as the Red Terran, currently 1-0 up in this series. It is Kelazhur.
And then he sped up the second one for you.
What can I say? And Kelazhur, he's already starting off this game a little bit cheeky, by the way, Todd. Like a little bit of fake proxy here. Now, this isn't a huge commitment, but this can really scare your opponent. Now, that probe will scout early, and it will see, like, hey, where's your barracks, mate? You've already got 2 gases going as well.
So what are you hoping for in terms of overreaction, maybe, out of HellraiseR?
If I'm Kelazhur, what I want to see is like a Cybercore first, like a really late Nexus. I want to see the Zealot produced as well. Like, all these things slow down his economy tremendously. And it's not as if this doesn't cost anything for the Terran. The one thing for HellraiseR 2 that he's going to be trying to spot out is, where is this factory placed? Because if it gets a few minutes into the game and there's still no factory, now he sees it. So we know it's not like a huge committal, a huge all-in. He just knows that, okay, there's going to be a little Reaper on my way. Maybe it's going to arrive way earlier than I expect, but HellraiseR's doing a lot of the right stuff here. Plonks down his Nexus as soon as he sees that.
Yeah, you think letting the Zealot complete is okay, though, right?
Yeah, it buys time. But often it's like, if you don't know where the proxy racks is, and now he knows it's close to the base, so he might be thinking, the Zealot, you know, not the optimal choice, but yeah, you have to get out of Zealot. But it's stuff that you hope for with the build as well.
Yeah. Very nice scout from HellraiseR here. He checked around the entire main base, realized everything there was to know here from there. Couldn't Kelazhur maybe have put his factory in another spot, like, you know, in the back of his main mineral line, or he needed that to wall off just in case there's a counterattack?
One of the scary things is if they do skip the Zealot and they could just go for an Adept straight away, or even if they had a proxy gate themselves, because it's not as if you scout early on with an SCV, so you are playing blind while doing this. The whole point of the build is to throw your opponent off, but also you have to be safe when you do that, so forming a wall is a good choice.
There's 2 Reapers coming back now. They know there is a Zealot on the map.
Oh.
And he finds it.
And little Jimmy the Zealot, he's not in a good spot here. Just chasing around. Had one too many Big Macs here. It's too slow to catch these guys up.
And there's no more catering and you have no choice.
I guess one big thing there, though, that the Zealot saw was that there was no add-on on this factory. So there's not going to be like a Cyclone rushing across the map. He didn't see an add-on on the barracks either. Now, he didn't see the starport, and this is another thing, like, where do you position your Stalkers now? But he did see 2 Reapers and a Hellion, which does indicate harass damage can be done.
HellraiseR opened really safe here. The second gateway, this is almost like old school. The Robo as well, just to make sure he can get an Observer across the map, get a good scout, maybe grab an Immortal. We saw last game how he liked to go quickly into Robo Bay. No gases yet on his Expo, and I mean, first he's going to have to worry about replacing those probes here. Nice snipes from Kelazhur.
This is one of the more tricky maps to deal with Reapers, because that mineral line in the natural is so exposed, and you have to worry about a totally different direction of those Reapers popping in there. So it's a nice strategy choice by Kelazhur on this map.
And I see there's a tech lab going up on the starboard, so maybe a Raven here. Those are becoming more and more popular.
And it's a super good choice. Now, he is making a second barracks. A tank is on the way, so very safe behind this. And right now, the same choice of tech for HellraiseR this game. The Robo, the War Prism, but there is a Widow Mine flying into the natural, and there's 2 Stalkers are there in position, and a nice pull away. I tell you what, HellraiseR's been doing very good at deflecting these Widow Mines so far.
Kelazhur seems so difficult to play against. He's just harassing constantly. It seems extremely hard to handle this really well. Double Robo Bay? No.
Oh,
HellraiseR forgot he already had one on the way.
The walking Colossus just wants them so freaking bad, Todd, that he makes a second Robo Bay, but I hope...
Unless he wants to go for Gravitic Drive plus Thermal Lens at the same time, this doesn't make any sense. And he doesn't even have the gas for it. Again, he still doesn't have the gases on his Expo.
That's a bit of nerves and a bit of the pressure.
Cancel it.
I hope so. I mean, that's a 200 investment, or 150 investment. That's huge. And yeah, he does cancel it, but that can shake you up on the main stage a little bit.
Kelazhur swapping his starboards.
Flew back into the Raven there, so you know, the last 30 seconds or so, HellraiseR's definitely feeling the pressure, because that Observer could have survived, or at least forced out a Raven turret there to die. But I love, by the way that Kelazhur retreated that medevac back, and now he's going again.
Yeah, just taking a look at the units lost tab, it feels like HellraiseR's the one that's not been trading in the most effective of ways here so far. Kelazhur, is he going to be ready for this one, though? At depths.
This is tricky.
HellraiseR looking to turn that, like what we just saw, and with a lot of SCV kills here if he can.
Oh, I love the interference matrix. These adepts can no longer be picked up, and you see. Oh, he even had to recall them to get away.
He's going to lose 2.
That's a nice little victory again for Kelazhur, and he doesn't slow down. Oh my gosh, did he pull away in time? Oh!
We want to kill walkers now, do we?
Oh.
Well, much better than you at that.
I tell you what, like, Kelazhur, he's looking mean. He's looking so comfortable playing this game. More Widow Mines being made this time. Stim, combat shields on the way, get in the engineering bay, and his economy has gone totally untouched. Look at the supply, Todd. 90 to 69.
I can bet I am. Damn, like, as someone that's always struggled against Widow Mine drops, like, I'm feeling the pain here for HellraiseR. Like, this is an absolute nightmare. It just keeps happening, and guess what? It's not going to stop. Even last game, like, on the third base that he had, HellraiseR tried to make a single cannon.
Todd, that Warp Prism, it's sleeping. Doesn't yet have Stim, but is he going to be able to... Oh, that was so close. And I tell you what, that makes it so much harder for that Warp Prism to enter again into the base. Now, Stim has finished. Combat Shield is coming up too. Kelazhur feels comfortable enough to just put that third down on location. He's going to leave a mine
behind for the Warp Prism.
Oh,
that's so sick.
I tell you what. If he flies over that would be dreadful for HellraiseR. HellraiseR's actually supply blocked here, can't produce a unit, and he's 30 supply behind as well. This is not a good situation for HellraiseR. The Terran taking the third before the Protoss, and again, just doing Widow Mine drop damage. Kelazhur's looking great this series.
HellraiseR does have 2 Colossi with Thermal Lens already finished, trying to catch the Prism here. Not going to be able to quite yet, as we have a much quicker second starport in this game than we saw last game, and Kelazhur is already adjusting, I think, very well to the style of HellraiseR. Like you mentioned, how much he likes Colossus. Kelazhur's like, all right, well, let's go old school then. Second starport, tons of Vikings, looking to maybe make a difference earlier in this game than in the previous one, where he was going for more tech, more upgrades, and ghosts.
And look at this, just doing everything he can just to be annoying, denying the mining and such.
Oh, the third base of HellraiseR is...
It's in trouble, and there is a drop at the top side of the map too. And this isn't a full-on commitment by Kelazhur. He's just seeing what he can get done because he is ahead. He doesn't have to make the full-on push here. This is a bit gnarly.
Yeah, I thought he was going to target the Nexus here for a second, but it's like HellraiseR is going to get the defense. Kelazhur needs to fall back here, dropping the main base with a bunch of Marines.
This is just being annoying. And like that fight at the third base of HellraiseR, honestly, it didn't go very well for Kelazhur. I think he was a bit overeager to just try and distract, but HellraiseR had enough Colossus to really shut him down, enough of an army, and he's dealing with the drop as well pretty decently. The thing is, Kelazhur is definitely ahead this game. His economy's really good, and he's ready to deal with the Colossus too, especially as you talked about, the second starport's already done.
Yeah, with 2 reactors as well, there's going to be a ton of Vikings being made. Armory just completed. That means If he wants to, Kelazhur can start +2 attack as soon as he would like here. And in which case he would be skipping the +1 infantry armor, which is like almost like old school of when Terrence used to make, 11 Vikings plus and then pull SCVs and go for it. Pull the boys.
How many observers are on the map, actually? Because I feel like, yeah, HellraiseR's just totally blind, so all of these drops can just go absolutely local on the other side of the map. And Kelazhur, quick to react. Oh, he's actually bringing the drop back here, so he realizes, like, this is HellraiseR, like, doing almost an all-in here. And
yeah, 3 Colossi with Thermal Lance here is going to be very, very scary for Kelazhur, who's only so far on 5 Vikings. He does have the Raven here to help with this as well. And I don't think HellraiseR should commit to this because I think he knows that the medivacs that were on the map or units that were on the map, they are going to come back, and then he's looking to do like, a very 360 Maru-esque engagement around this Colossus army.
When he kept those units in the medevac started, I thought it was going to be like running on top, like dive bombing with his own units, distracting the Colossi a little bit. But this move out by HellraiseR, he definitely denied the mining on that third base, made it move back a little bit. And he's also switching out of Colossus, going for Disruptors, which I think is a good choice. The thing is, he has to survive this next attack by Kelazhur because it's not going to be an easy one.
Yeah, HellraiseR is still the one posturing forward here. Almost has to make sure he's buying a good amount of time. Big Zealot warping in the main base.
Oh,
and
nice.
Kelazhur immediately evacuates.
Yeah, that's a nice pullback, but HellraiseR, even though he's the one that's behind here, he's doing a good job of making Kelazhur's life very, very difficult. Decent force fields, but the bio gets through. The Colossi disabled, and the Vikings are hunting down the army. The Disruptor, is it going to be a dream? And yes, it deals a lot of damage.
And in the meantime, the charge loss are killing so many SCVs all over the place here. That detonation was massive. HellraiseR just has to pull back now. It just dealt so much damage that he might be happy. He just recalls out of there.
That's a really nice recall, gets away with all his army, and now he's the one with a pretty chunky supply lead. A lot of units being started up by Kelazhur, and yeah, Todd, you called it. He goes for the +2 weapon straight away, so an unorthodox tech path, but he's been sent back to the Stone Age in terms of economy.
And when you've hit a Terran on their economy this hard like this, I think going into a lot of High Templars and Archons is usually going to be the way to close the show, because it's going to be borderline impossible for Kelazhur to go into something like Ghosts here. So if HellraiseR reaches a good amount of High Templars or even Archons, it's going to be just, I think, too hard for Kelazhur to handle it. And Kelazhur looking to try and counter-attack here. He did kill a lot of units, like he lost SCVs, but I think he wants to try and make a difference now. But that Prism still forward here, warping in Zealots. He still has to deal with this. And Kelazhur might just be going all in here.
He is for sure. A nice blink forward, trying to save the Colossi. Now, Kelazhur has to be so careful with how he does this.
He drops the main base at the same time.
With what, though? Is it like 2 medevacs? Is it 3? Okay, just 1 medevac. I mean, it's going to distract, obviously, for sure, but... Oh, a Disruptor. Is it going to get a big hit? Oh, another huge hit. HellraiseR, these dream Disruptor shots are keeping him in this game, and in fact, he's getting really far ahead. He deals with the drop, and he sends Kelazhur back home. Oh, and this Warp Prism. He's the one now dealing all the pressure. He's the one really taking control of this game. These guys are made for each other.
Yeah, back home is where Kelazhur needs to be right now, as there was charge lots all over the place. Still finds a drop inside the natural base of Kelazhur at the same time. HellraiseR on the offensive. He wants to end this game right now.
Oh, these Colossus being called out, though. A little bit of pathing there. Disruptor again. Not this time, says Kelazhur. He backs off. And his drop is definitely being annoying, but HellraiseR, he's mining more right now. He is in a healthy spot. His upgrades, he's going to have +2 kicking in pretty soon.
And I love the Dark Shrine timing this game, because HellraiseR kills so many SCVs that Kelazhur is really low on economy, and he has no turrets this game. Not a single one. Every one of his bases has no turrets. So if he sends a bunch of Dark Templars in, right now Kelazhur is so busy spamming those mules on his third base that I think he might not be ready for Dark Templars.
No, that's a good point. When you've got a broke Terran, he needs all the economy that he can get. And if you just stretch him out a little bit, make it even tougher on him, oh, it's a rough spot to be in. He's going to be dealing with that drop as well. These Vikings, they run into the wrong neighborhood with these Stalkers as well.
And there's still a Prism around the north side that's alive, by the way.
That Prism this game, MVP, Todd. That's been making Kelazhur's life so difficult.
He needs to remember that Dark Shrine just finished, though. But right now, HellraiseR's focused on taking on this army. There's just too few Vikings to deal with this Colossi. That's the big problem.
Too few Vikings, and also the ground army's really strong. And when this army has 3 Disruptors in it too, you kind of need Liberators to deal with them. Even having to stim just to run away and survive.
Little run by on the other side here.
Ooh, that's a nice run by though. Like
Kelazhur's own version of the charge lots harassing the SCVs.
even focus firing down the probes here too. Like that is nice.
Prism back into the natural. It's Dark Templar time. No turrets anywhere, like I said before. And there is only a single scan available, with the second one to come soon.
Oh, this is a lot of low. Oh my gosh! Where is the highlight reel? The Disruptors going insane on both sides. GG, well played. This series has been tied up with some monster play out of HellraiseR. Man, it's so nice here in the crowd here. They're so happy for their homeboy. And you know, he looked a little bit shaky early on that game. You know, losing Observer here, making the 2 Robo Bays early on. But man, he got himself well back into that because it was looking pretty grim.
Yeah, and he had nothing going for him. Like, he was using a lot of probes here and there. And it's really that War Prism and counter attack. He handled the multitasking for sure very, very well. Even on his side of the map, minimized the damage. I think maybe doing the one single medivac in the main base was not the best for Kelazhur. Like, he was obviously, you know, not looking to deal critical damage or anything, but it's so much easier to handle than 2. If you send 2 medivacs worth of units in the main base, oh, the jacket's coming off, the Muslim.
You know what that means?
He's going for the Serral move.
And you know what happened when Serral took it off? He went balls to the wall. He went so ham, started playing out of his mind. But these players, it's almost like looking in a mirror. Like, if I was a Protoss, I'd play exactly like you. And if I played Terran, I'd play exactly like you. HellraiseR just wants to get out of that War Prism dealing damage with the drops and stuff. Kelazhur wants to do the exact same thing. It's like truly such a carnage matchup by both of these players. And when you have chaos meeting chaos, it just erupts in just a crazy, crazy series.
What adjustments, if you were Kelazhur here, do you think you would be focusing on making to be able to do better in a game like this?
I felt there was a point in time where Kelazhur was obviously had like 120 supply against 80.
Yeah.
And while he was sharking around playing like, I'm ahead, right? I don't need to commit, I don't need to invest. But that early attack that was like a non-committal attack at the third base of HellraiseR, he lost way too much. And then he kind of let HellraiseR get a little bit of tempo. So if there's anything I'd say to Kelazhur just to maintain like focus and a, you know, like a presence of mind, I'd just be like, okay, the early pressure went super good for you. But sometimes you have to keep that up. And you were obviously putting your opponent under a lot of pressure there. He was messing up quite a bit. Sometimes you just have to go real ham and take him out, rather than just playing the I'm ahead game.
It's very hard to find the right balance. And obviously it's easier for us. Like, we see the whole supplies, the whole map. We see everything. But when you're in game, you just have like, you know, a split second where you see your opponent's army where you have to decide, do I get out of here or do I go for the actual fight? Which means that if I get crushed, I'm going to fall super far behind and maybe lose the game from there.
I guess, like, one of the things, too, like, he had Vikings on the map to deal with the Colossus, right? Maybe keeping 1 Viking at home or 2 Vikings, like, on either side, just to deal with the Warp Prism. Cause
maybe some turrets in the corners, too.
Any addition of some anti-air for that Warp Prism, because that's the one thing that's really making HellraiseR come out ahead in this series. And spawning in the bottom right side, our blue Terran. Hailing from Brazil, it is Kelazhur. Little bit of a clap for the audience for the Brazilian, but wait for the Ukrainian.
Keeping it fair. His opponent in the northwest, playing as the Red Protoss and representing Team Clash, the hometown hero here in Ukraine. It is HellraiseR. I did my best.
They're tough ones. They're tough ones.
Yeah.
Okay, so HellraiseR immediately starts off with a probe scout again, and I love the fact that he's doing this kind of stuff, just like making sure that his opponent's not doing anything too crazy, too wild, because that can really throw you off. And it's always worth it as a Protoss, because if you scout early and you see the barracks at home, you can get away with the Nexus before the Cybercore, and it doesn't halt your economy at all. So I love the fact that HellraiseR's playing safe and also just respecting his opponent.
Yeah, as far as openers go here, we're not going to be seeing anything as, I guess crazy might not be the right word, but anything as mind game-y as we saw last game from Kelazhur, where he went for the barracks outside of his wall. Is going to be a lot more standard. He does go for the scout with the SCV here once again to try and be a little bit safer, as we see a Reaper as well to try and keep up with the information. The way he plays is really scary. I think Kelazhur, like, you can really gain some good momentum, and he did so last game for sure with a lot of his Widow Mines drops, like where he was preventing mining time, killing probes all over the place. It's actually insane that HellraiseR managed to come back after that, because I just thought he just kept on falling behind and behind and further behind.
Yeah, Kelazhur is definitely good at keeping the pressure up. And also, like, he was really ahead that last game. Like,
Yeah.
it was until that move out by HellraiseR when he was behind in supply, and then that Dream Disruptor shot from the right side leaked in.
That was insane.
Yeah, I felt like that combined with the defense at his third base, that really helped HellraiseR get a little bit of momentum. And, you know, just poking in here again with the probe. It's after the Reaper's been out on the map, and this Reaper was very adamant about just scouting all around. Like, a lot of the spaces that a proxy could be placed have been checked out by Kelazhur.
And HellraiseR is going to mix in a Stargate. Do you like what he does with the probe? Because like he knows that it's already across the map. Like, yes, you could hide it and try to get it back home, but instead he goes for the SCV that's building the command center aggression, where he knows he's going to lose the probe, but he's going to weaken the SCV that's building the command center. What do you think about it?
It's one of those gambles, right? Like, if the Reaper doesn't, or if the Reaper goes straight across the map to scout you,
Yeah.
then it's great because you can actually delay the CC. But given that he already scouts with a CC, you kind of know that the Reaper doesn't necessarily need to go across the map to figure out if you've got a Nexus or not. So I think this is one of those things that in practice he does this every time.
Yeah.
But it's Kelazhur playing a little bit different, a little bit weirder. And
So
it's kind of working against him.
There's already 2 Hellions headed across the map here with the Reaper. This is a little bit scary there, as HellraiseR did spot that factory with the reactor on it, so he should be getting ready for this. But Banshee with Cloak is going to start here.
I love the Banshee with Cloak, Todd. And, you know, this Reaper does fall, but he keeps the army units back at home. And this Oracle, it's not marching out onto the map. He wants to be used to defend against the Hellions if they do come. And he's hiding it, Todd. He's keeping it out of vision. Now these Hellions commit, and this Oracle's going to go ham. But, oh, really nice split. So at least keeping one Hellion alive. And while this guy can't deal a lot of damage, he can constantly scout, and he will be a presence on the map, just scouting away.
Kelazhur is keeping HellraiseR back at home right now and wondering, like, there's no way he should be able to find out about this Banshee up until the point he's going to reach one of his mineral lines.
Haha, I'm always liking these little splits, and he gets 2 probes with that final shot there. There is a shield battery in the main, so he won't be able to deal damage here, but it's one of those things, right? Like, now he gets a lot of vision, he gets to have warp-ins at home. Oh, Cyclone upgrade coming online. Is this going to be one of those crazy pushes from Kelazhur? Is it going to be a mech game? We'll see.
A bit surprising that he's getting a bunker, but I guess he's anticipating some kind of counter-attack. He knows that the Banshees, they're likely to do some damage. Okay, they fly past one another. HellraiseR should be realizing what's happening. Yeah, he flies back with the Oracle, so he's got a Phoenix on the way. He's going to warp in Stalkers. Cloaking field just completed already. Kelazhur, he might need to fly away already. Great defense from HellraiseR. And the bunker makes a lot of sense now, because those Adepts are going to reach across the map here.
I super like the bunker, and he only sent 1 Oracle back home as well, and it was the one with enough energy. And now this is kind of a scary army to be in your mineral line, Todd. That Cyclone did lock onto an Adept instead of the Oracle, so the Oracle's just running kind of free in the back of the base here.
Yeah, the turrets were a bit late. The one in Natural in particular, the one in the main is already completed. These Oracles need to be careful. They're going to take a ton of damage here. Oh, and the Cyclone is going to get one of them. The other one very low on hit points. As the third base is already close to completing here for HellraiseR on the other side of the map.
And the Banshee and Stalker both run away from one another there. You don't often see that in Starcraft 2. Now, there are still Banshees on the map. So the Cyclone upgrade's coming, but he's also getting +1 weapons for infantry. So Kelazhur's definitely playing in a way that I haven't really seen before. And look at HellraiseR, by the way. He's got his defense set up. He's got his third up and running too, starting his armor upgrades.
What do you think is the reasoning behind Mike Field Accelerator here?
Honestly, when
He's
I go
up to 2 Cyclones right now.
Yeah, I think he just wants to be able to defend against those Oracles with just like 1 single Cyclone, or to do a push out and focus on them. Either way, it's a bit of a crazy upgrade to get with what he's been going for, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a little bit confused, but I think it's mainly for defense purposes.
And HellraiseR goes straight into charge.
Oh. I guess what? Those Banshees have seen those Oracles, and now those Cyclones, they are Oracle Destroyers, Todd, especially with that upgrade. This could get gnarly. They deal a lot of damage now. Oh, great defense by HellraiseR with his units. In fact, oh my gosh, the Marine, that was carnage. He shouldn't have lost any of the Oracles there after dealing with the first Cyclone.
Crazy trades here going down in the middle of the map. Kelazhur with Steam Pack on the way and close to completing here. He's already got 1 tank with the second one about to finish. There is a really good push you can do on this map around the third base of the Protoss, where you stand on the low ground at 12 o'clock exactly. And I feel like we might be seeing this actually coming into play here in a second. I still kept the Banshee alive also, which is really nice.
I'm scared for Kelazhur though this game, Todd, because making tanks and making quite a few of them, when your opponent has only just started adding a Robo Bay, there's going to be a lot of charge lots out with a lot of upgrades incoming. So the tanks, they're not the best units against charge lots at all. In fact, you tend to find they throw down a lot of friendly fire damage. So
yeah.
Kelazhur, he's kind of reading into his opponent being the Colossus guy, but this game HellraiseR's mixed it up entirely, which I really love from HellraiseR.
You don't think that push is going to be super scary? Because, I mean, I look at the Zealot count, and it is scary, but the Marine counts also look pretty good, I think.
I think that push is going to be very much... Well, I don't know when it's necessarily going to be kicking in, because...
I think third tank, which is right now.
He only has one Tech Lab, right? For his units? So that stim, like the combat shield is going to be super darn delayed,
yeah.
So... If you try and engage without combat shield against charge lots, even if you have like a really decent number, your Marines get slaughtered.
So you think he's not going to push?
Not with one big push, not just yet. But I think that is purely because of the way that he's gone for his add-ons. Like, and he's also thrown down like a 4th and 5th barracks. We have an armory on the way too. A lot of this signals that he's going for more a longer game, and he did feel comfortable with it in game 1. The thing is, HellraiseR's definitely got himself into a comfortable position here.
Yeah, those revelations are definitely discouraging to go for a push, because you know you'd be spotted. Well, actually, a lot of units of HellraiseR are across the map. He's engaging into these Marines here, which are going to be forced back, but then the double Medivac drop on the other side of the map is going to be that scarier, because HellraiseR has so much across the map already. Charles coming in here. We've got a cannon helping out with his shield battery about to finish.
And
HellraiseR getting the better end of the fights on both sides of the map.
HellraiseR's murdering him, Todd. Kelazhur, look at the production tab. He's actually going for drilling claws behind all this. I think he's just been totally baffled by the fact that HellraiseR's thrown something totally not HellraiseR-y at him. His drop's deflected. Is this third base actually going to fall? The SV is going to try and repair it. Are they going to keep it alive? And it looks like it, but he's trying to land. Does he have vision of the high ground? He does. The force field. He's really trying to go for this. Is the orbital going to fall? And no, HellraiseR keeps it alive, but sacrificing a lot of SCVs to do so. This is so close, but HellraiseR, he's now eked out a 50 supply lead, Todd. And he's even going for a 4th base right under the nose of these medevacs. He's in a great spot this game.
Yeah, those medevacs across the map were shot down well enough for HellraiseR to feel very comfortable in this map now. A 50 supply lead, look at it. Zealot's going to be sniped here. And ideally for Kelazhur, he would like to get a cancel on the base, but I don't know that he has enough left over.
And Todd,
back in position to defend now.
And Todd, combat shield is still only halfway done. Oh my gosh. I really feel if that medevac died, that would have been the real clinch for Kelazhur to kind of tap out of this game. He has one shot, and he has to deal a lot of harass damage. And also, he's got to rely on these Widow Mines, because it's not often you find a Terran going for the Drilling Claws upgrade in this matchup. So I think his one hope is to really catch HellraiseR off guard.
Get a dream fight somehow, but looking at the army of HellraiseR, it's going to be really tough for Kelazhur to pull it off. And even the production tab is looking really scary. Templar Archives, Second Forge, Thermal Lance, Colossus, +3 armor. HellraiseR is getting everything that he needs here.
Oh, and 3 fresh mules are denied mining. The rest of the SCVs, they have to run away from this base. And yes, the Marines do join, and they do back off that Oracle. But look at the supply again, Todd. And going up to +3 armor is HellraiseR. This is gnarly. This is gnarly.
HellraiseR is actually anticipating a multi-pronged attack. He left a bunch of his army around the 4th base, but it's not even really the case. It's just that one injured Medivac and a couple of Marines on that side.
HellraiseR's in such good shape right now. If he combined all his forces and moved out across the map, there's nothing Kelazhur could do to stop it. And now he gets rid of this drop too. I feel, and he's getting on top of this as well. The Medivac, the one with the units, is sniped. HellraiseR all over Kelazhur, and now you see the top force as well. He is marching to Kelazhur, and Kelazhur, he has to do something miraculous to hold on.
Yeah, he's got a lot of Widow Mines. He's going to need some insane connections, looking to try and trigger those. Blinks back at the last second. These charge loss, though, take a ton of damage. Widow Mines are revealed. HellraiseR is going to press forward, and he's doing exactly what you were saying. He's regrouping and going for the killing blow.
This is just wave 1, though, of a lot of units marching across the map from HellraiseR. 2 Archons are joining. That's a lot of chaos, or rather a lot of splash damage. Now, the Stalkers, they're there. This is a juicy army. The SCVs are brought into the fight as well. One force field goes down. Kelazhur takes the big defeat from HellraiseR here. He's down 1-2 now. HellraiseR's thriving on the stage at this point, and He's got the backing of the crowd as well. They are so happy to see such good play out of their lad.
Very convincing game out of HellraiseR here. Handled the aggression on his side of the map very, very well, and at the same time attacked, I think, at a surprising timing, for sure, for Kelazhur. It just feels like he wasn't ready for this. He wasn't looking in the right location. He got engaged into his bio, and by the time he reacted, he had already lost so much. And a double medivac into the third base. It feels like HellraiseR knew this was going to come, almost for sure, because he already had the cannon, he was getting a shield battery, and he already had a couple charge lots on the ground, buying time for the extra warp-in, not to be attacked while he was warping in, which makes like a world of difference against this kind of aggression.
I definitely feel HellraiseR's the one learning from this series quite a bit. Even like mixing it up with the Stargate opening and avoiding Colossus until like much, much later, which and a lot of things from Kelazhur as well, like going for the Cyclone upgrade and then the Drilling Claws. Like, he's really trying to be off meta, but sometimes I think you can try to be too fancy, you know? And I think Kelazhur needs to go...
Just level yourself.
Yeah, I think he needs to go back to basics a little bit here when he's dealing with HellraiseR, because HellraiseR, he's obviously a Protoss that has a lot of tricks up his sleeve, but also a lot of very standard good play as well.
We'll see if Kelazhur can make the proper adjustments here, or if the local hero HellraiseR can do it indeed.
And so far, he's looking very good. I mean, he looked good yesterday against Serral as well. Took a map off the WCS champion, and here, going up against Kelazhur. I mean, a lot of people you probably don't know about HellraiseR right now. And Kelazhur, he's a guy that you've heard about for years and years. At one point, he was the only foreigner to take a map off the Koreans at GSL vs. the World and beating TY in that epic whirlwind game. But here, going up against HellraiseR, he's looking like he's found his match, and maybe a player that's just outplaying him just a smidge.
It would be an amazing performance here from HellraiseR. Really making waves this tournament. Winning the one map against Serral. Looking very impressive doing so.
And this isn't the only tournament this year that HellraiseR's looked pretty good. At the Home Story Cup as well, he came out swinging pretty strong, taking out players like Zest and finishing, I think, top 2 in his group. Anyhow, getting into the 4th game of this series, we are currently looking at the player playing from Team Kelazhur. From Ukraine, it is HellraiseR.
His opponent, the Red Terran, looking to try and bring it back. He comes all the way from Brazil. A legendary Terran. It is Diego Schwimmer, a.k.a. Kelazhur.
You timed that out pretty all right, actually. You timed that out pretty all
I'm
right.
like stretching it to the max.
For those guys at home, we're trying to match up with the Ukrainian commentators over here.
Which are completely random.
Completely random.
Really short, sometimes really long.
20-second intro here, 5-second intro there. A little bit difficult. Now, Acropolis, this is one of the new maps in the pool. And this map, it's pretty. That's one of the first things you notice. But the next thing you notice, holy darn, is this map huge.
Yeah, and like, how does that change the dynamic in PvT, would you say?
Well, if there's anything I know about PvT, Todd, is Warp Prisms don't care about how far away the base is. Whereas for a Terran, a lot of those timing attacks and stuff, they take a lot longer to arrive. Those medevacs, they have to fly a much further distance. If I take both these players and how they've been playing, I think that goes against Kelazhur more than it does against HellraiseR.
Yeah, all alike. It can definitely backfire, right? Like if you move out as Protoss and then suddenly you're getting dropped and you rely mostly on recall, which is not always enough. So you kind of have to adjust to the map, which I think is nice. Like if all the maps were the same, it wouldn't be nearly as interesting as if we get like different scenarios like this and longer rush distances on certain maps.
I think one of the super beautiful things about this map though for Protoss, you can deny scouting with the Reaper in the main base with just one pylon, which is very, very handy, which you see HellraiseR's already done. Also, the mineral lines aren't really that exposed. It's not like a King's Cove or something where every mineral line is kind of like revealed on the edge where a medevac would drop in. So there's definitely a lot of ways that Protoss can deal with drops a lot easier, and HellraiseR opting for the Stargate and yet again, and I think that's a good choice on this map.
Yeah, especially scouting-wise, it's been difficult so far for HellraiseR this series. Like there were a couple games he completely skipped on the Reaper. Right now, not quite able to go into the main base. Oh, he just goes past.
Oh my gosh!
He had to sacrifice a Reaper to spot the Stargate, but he does see it.
And that was the longest range adept in the world. If I didn't know better, I'd say that was a Marine.
He got the Dragoon range from Brood War.
Absolutely. I'm in the wrong game, mate. So right now,
but spotting the Stargate is really good, obviously.
Yeah, Kelazhur's seeing the Stargate, so he knows that he can't just go gung-ho. Like, there is the possibility of, A, Oracles, which can deal good damage, and B, Phoenix to deflect any sort of pressure that he throws out. Now, the big question for Kelazhur is he going to go multiple Widow Mines, and which he is, and is he just going to play defensively with them? And also, this is actually quite a good map for Mech against Protoss, and I'm not really sure about how comfortable Kelazhur is with that kind of style, but so far it looks like he's going to play kind of defensive with the Widow Mines, which I like.
Yeah, in the first place. Like, the dream is that, you know, the Oracle flies across the map, you blow it up, and then you can go for the counter-attack. You know, not many people do what Uthermal liked to do for a long time when Stargate was like the main build, which is drop down on eBay, get a turret per middle line, and then go across the map and keep on aggressing the opponent. And I think that's because if you do that and the opponent drops down a third Nexus and plays passive, you've kind of made turrets that are completely useless on your side of the map, other than, you know, making you feel safe.
Oh, it looks like HellraiseR is going to immediately make the life of Kelazhur a little bit difficult, but he flies into the Widow Mine, and it does exactly that. It shuts down that Oracle immediately, and he also gets away with killing 2, 3. Oh my god, what a defense by Kelazhur.
Is it time for the aggression now? He went for Viking first and foremost. But now we see a Medivac on the way. Double additional barracks are going to start right after. And going for the quick third command center, do you like this?
I like this.
Especially after this defense?
After this defense, you could be like, okay, if I had pressure ready afterwards with like 3 barracks already up and running, I'm getting stim and combat shields and +1, you'd probably be happy. But the thing is, this is a huge map, and he's playing the map quite a bit. And also, it hasn't been scouted by HellraiseR. This is quite a big deal.
Kelazhur's a sneaky guy, by the way. Like, these Widow Mines were placed so well. Like, he had one in the natural right above the command center, so like really hard to spot. And he had another one around the main base, like right above the refinery, which is now moved.
You know what's beautiful about this series? They're both playing like very good against one another, you know? Like, not one of them's faltering exactly. They're just both punching each other as hard as they can. And the other guy keeps on standing and looking at him, punching him back. It's a great series to watch.
All right, it's time for some more Widow Mine drop here. I don't see too many units around, just the 2 Stalkers right under this here. Let's see if HellraiseR can react properly here once again. He's not reacting.
Oh my gosh. I tell you what, that first Widow Mine, that's a great shot. 7 probes, that is more than what you asked for, especially with the start that he's had with deflecting the Oracle and the Adepts. This is really good for Kelazhur.
Do you see what HellraiseR is doing? By the way, he's playing a Charge Lot Phoenix style here against this, which...
What is this, 2012?
Yeah. I mean, initially, this was used a lot to help defend against Widow Mines in the first place, thanks to the Phoenixes being in position with the pickups and snipes on these.
I do like this response by HellraiseR, by the way. Like, he sees that he's getting Widow Mine dropped, and now he knows that he most likely won't have them in Kelazhur's base, so then he opted to go in with the Oracles and deal a little bit of damage. So it's a nice counter move by him.
Kelazhur hasn't spotted the third base. He must be suspecting, but seeing the timing and how well saturated it is can be very important here. Yet another one, Widow Mine drop here. Gonna force the detonation early so he can start mining immediately. But yeah, I feel like Kelazhur, ideally, he should know about the third base. But right now, he hasn't scouted it at all.
It's almost a safe call these days to just say, like, a Protoss is going to take his third base between, like, 4 and 5 minutes. Which is why him going for the fast third base of his own, I think, was a good move, especially on a map of this size. Now, these Oracles are getting some decent scouting, and he gets to see the second eBay being made and also the armory being made. So immediately from that, you can kind of tell this Terran wants to go for a much later game. In fact, does he even know about the third base yet? Like, did he see it in the main... I mean,
no, he hasn't.
Now he spots it with that revelation. So now now HellraiseR knows what kind of game he's in for. A bit of a longer game. He isn't making any probes, by the way.
Yeah, HellraiseR, he's only up to 3 gases. He never took the 4th one on the natural or anyone on the 4th base. So it looks like he might drop one more Nexus in a second and just play a very Zealot heavy composition. I thought he might, if he took the gas, that he might go for High Templars. It can be really nice to play that style. But he's dropping down a Robo now, so I'm thinking he might still go into Colossus here.
I'm kind of a little bit scared for HellraiseR's army because Kelazhur's done a real good job of getting those Widow Mines out into the field very, very quickly. And this Viking, this single Viking is very useful. Oh, he knocks it back into his bio. That was great play with the Viking.
Couple Zealots here on the map. Looking to try and go for some sort of counter-attack to kill some SCVs. Ideally, while Kelazhur would be busy looking on the map.
I really like that, and he's also getting the Warp Prism out, so he's looking to deal a little bit of counter damage, just spotting where that army is, because he is kind of scared, because trying to deal with this kind of bio squad, like, you're going to trade very inefficiently if you don't have those big splash units to deal with it.
And Kelazhur's already wary of the potential Warp Prisms. He's getting a turret all the way at the south inside of his main base right now. So
And
if it were to try to fly inside of that base,
I even love this random depot, like where his fourth will be, just so we can see run-bys from that angle
like
as well.
Warcraft 3 scouting farm.
Exactly, exactly. It's very, very cute by Kelazhur. I'm a little bit surprised by how hesitant Kelazhur is with his main army, because I really feel, especially after he scans this, it's like, well, where is your tech? Where are the big units here? And I like
They're not out yet.
No, they're not. And the thing is, his army is way stronger than HellraiseR's right now. Look at HellraiseR, by the way, getting a Robo Bay, a Dark Shrine as well. He's really hoping to he's really hoping that Kelazhur doesn't touch him, but the thing is, Kelazhur's knocking on his front door.
Yeah, and that's a very scary force here, in particular because of the Widow Mines. Again, that many charge loss is going to start to kites. HellraiseR a little bit hesitant to engage just yet. Let's see if he goes for it. Charge loss on the other side of the map are going to get a cancel on that fourth command center.
The cancel is big.
Kelazhur to get ready for the defense, but he's getting engaged on both fronts.
I tell you what, these Widowmine connections, they're dealing with the Zealots, they're dealing with the front line, but they weren't massive connections where they deal with everything. It was nice that the Zealots went single file into that.
Massive warping on the other side of the map here into the natural base. HellraiseR with those big Zealot warping. They've got so many upgrades. Ground armor level 2 just completed. Widow Mines might do a little bit of friendly fire here. Kelazhur needs to defend convincingly, but he's getting engaged on the other side of the map here by Immortal Stalkers.
Wow, HellraiseR's making Kelazhur's life difficult again, and he cleans up all this army, and more importantly, all the Widow Mines, and now Kelazhur's been kind of reset. Yes, his economy took a little bit of a hit there, but I think he dealt with the counterattack well. The thing is, HellraiseR, he's got his tech up and running now. He's getting a fourth base. He's up to 6 gases, getting out thermal lamps.
He killed the Prism on his side of the map, which is very important because that finally shuts down this aggression for some time. The Dark Shrine completed. We'll see if HellraiseR uses any of these guys here early on.
Oh, so a scouting hallucination does go out, and he gets to see that he's under attack. And yet again, DTs being warped. And whereabouts are these DTs, Todd? Because
around the fourth base, he's going to send that into the bases to kill some SCVs.
Because they could be detrimental to just throwing Kelazhur totally off beat. Kelazhur just hoping that he can kind of bait in the army of HellraiseR into him, but HellraiseR's playing calm and patient. He's not falling for the bait.
Yeah. I think engaging here might be better where he's moving.
If he engages now, while the DTs start dealing damage, that could be truly scary, but this is a nice position for Kelazhur. Does deny this fourth base, makes life difficult.
Oh, he scans there perfectly, and the one in natural, there's a turret around that's going to be defended as well very nicely. Kill 10 probes, Kelazhur, with some really good damage here. Disruptor going to come into play. And HellraiseR's going for the fight here. He's going to try to break out of that position.
I tell you what, he's breaking out of it, Todd, but he is suffering quite a lot of losses, but his army's quite stocky. He has +2 armor upgrades, and he really wants to take a fourth base, but he's going for the fourth right down at the bottom left, definitely stretching himself out. Look at this little cheeky Widow Mine here. Will it be spotted by HellraiseR? Oh, it is spotted, but will it get a connection? 4 probes, definitely worth it.
Yeah, very nicely done. Careful, Kelazhur. There's the Disruptor, there's that one Colossus. I think ever since that big shot in one of the earlier games, now he's very, very careful with those Disruptors, even if it's just the one every time.
Kelazhur's very ballsy. He's just like marching into this army. The Liberators are a bit late to the fight, but there's a lot of bio here just firing down on HellraiseR. The warping for... Oh, this Widow Mine active again, but the fight's still going on. And the Widow Mines are connecting. They're making big connections, but a second Colossus, that's going to make it a little bit tougher for Kelazhur to do anything. Back home, by the way, 3 more barracks being added on. This is just Kelazhur going full Kelazhur here. There's going to be so much bio out in the field very, very soon.
And Kelazhur has been so consistent with the upgrades, by the way, this game. He definitely rushed that plus attack, and now with the +3 about to complete.
He's 2-2 against 0-2.
Yeah, that's insane. Actually, that almost never happens.
And look at these scouting depots, and yet again, I love that addition to Kelazhur's play. If he sees a Warp Prism going to his main, like before it enters, that's a big, big deal.
I mean, army-wise, it's just always so hard, right? When you're on the other side of the map, because Protoss can reinforce with Warpins, and they've got their strong units already there in position.
I mean, it can be tough, but Kelazhur's making it look very, very fun this game.
Ooh, is it Doom Drop time?
Oh, I mean, that is a Doom Drop and a half. 4 full medevacs with better upgraded units, but HellraiseR, is he going to let Kelazhur get away with it? Because now Kelazhur's army's been cut in half.
He might need to recall to defend this. Or does he go for the counter-attack to try and get the kill and try to defend with stuff like DTs?
I think he's already dealt pretty good damage here. Like, there is a recall available here in the main base, and that is a scary bio army.
He's recalling.
Yes, he does exactly that.
Kelazhur, did he see it? He sees it now for sure. He's going to stay to try and deal damage to these Colossi. 2 of them were recalled at the back. That one Archon is completely stuck. Snipes the Dark Shrine. He's like, you know what? I can't take this fight. I can't trade. as much damage in units as I want to here before pulling back.
Todd, look at Kelazhur's bank.
HellraiseR's cornering these medivacs. They're still tagged here by the one Revelation.
Oh, and HellraiseR's closing in. Those Colossus, by the way, just marching down the cliff. They can join the army instantly. And right now, HellraiseR cleans up the attack of Kelazhur.
Yeah, Kelazhur needs to spend that bank here.
Kelazhur, you're rich, mate. You're the richest guy in Brazil right now. Got 2,000 minerals to spend. He's actually fallen quite a bit behind in supply. And HellraiseR, he's got up that 4th base, Todd.
Yeah.
He's actually pretty rich behind all this.
He's not really missing a beat with his production. That one Archon in the main base of HellraiseR is trying to break free.
Oh my gosh. That's a sad, sad Archon. Too fat, mate. I'm too fat to get out of here.
That's so funny. He's like, the cannon could have helped. He's like, nah, you got this, bro. All right, they're going to engage. HellraiseR. Oh, it feels like he's posturing forward. Like he shouldn't want to engage into that ramp with just the 2 Colossi, but maybe he's that confident. The Disruptors, by the way, we've seen some big connections before.
I think at this point, HellraiseR needs to start thinking about Storm. Like, having all these Liberators stacked and being able to get a good Storm on top of them will help so much. And, I mean, he's rich enough to make a 5th base. He's remaking probes as well. But I love the fact that he's making it difficult. The Liberators are all out of position, by the way, here, Todd. So, oh, the Disruptor is there. Oh, my God, again! HellraiseR! You are just murdering and butchering Kelazhur at this point with these Disruptor shots. Again, they're going in. Decent connections, decent connections. Oh my God, HellraiseR's supply. Kelazhur, he's at 2.2k. He's not using any of his barracks. What's happened in his main base? Is he even doing anything? No.
I think he just didn't queue that many units behind. I think he didn't bind the new barracks that he made. They're not producing.
I think
there's 2 barracks in his main base that are doing nothing.
He's falling apart. He's really falling apart. He's still got so much money. And the thing is, he's been denied of a 3rd base mining for so long. He goes on Lands it again. And now he's getting ranged Liberators. Oh, that medevac. It did survive, but it's going to be walking past a few Stalkers here. And they do find... Wow. Blinked away there. It's more important to take out this 4th base, I suppose. And I think he's doing a damn good job. But these Liberators, they're getting some decent shots, but he blinks right on under them. And all these Liberators being picked off. Kelazhur is not looking healthy right now.
Yeah, HellraiseR is so Stalker heavy. It's actually easy for him to deal with as many Liberators. His upgrades really kicking in now as well. Storm on the way behind his +2 attack. He pushes this 4th base away while he's taking his own 5th base.
Oh, and yeah, dropping against this. I mean, wow, even the stasis trap over there, but a few Zealots and a few Warpins are enough to hold this off. HellraiseR, by the way, behind all this, up to 6 bases now, Todd. He's taking a 6, retaking his Dark Shrine as well. Got a super worker count as well, 79, and even improving on that count as well.
Yeah, Kelazhur has finally spent most of his bank, but he's still trailing behind in supply. HellraiseR moving left, moving right, never allowing these Liberators to really do enough, as he traded with them previously. Kelazhur trying to re-expand wherever he can.
Kelazhur taking this base, by the way, that is very sneaky, and that could be one way back into the game for him.
Yeah, 2 Marines actually on the bottom left, just sniped the High Templar.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad. 2 Marines for a High Templar.
And then the Liberator comes in. Like this, Kelazhur's doing what he can, right? These are definitely little sneaky attacks, and he's trying to make this happen. He has spent his bank. Oh my God, is this a Dream Liberator? Okay, he does spot it, but not without a price. 7 probes do go down. And the thing is, HellraiseR right now doesn't know about that bottom mining base, Todd. And now it's had time to get into a PF. And even flying away his main base, Kelazhur, he's reaching deep this game. He's going to the bottom of the barrel to do everything he can.
Looks like we got a run by the top, setting up
what
for an attack.
What were these SCVs doing, by the way? I was kind of worried about where they were going to end up, but this, he does have to recall.
He's recalling a part of his army. That's going to chase this away.
Nice run back by Kelazhur as well, just realizing, like, okay, I needed to do something, I need to buy time.
Yeah, Kelazhur is actually ahead in army supply. He's reassembled a pretty strong army. He still has no goes, though, against 8 High Templars and only 3 Liberators to really help deal with these Colossi. So that's the big problem, the massive amount of AoE here from Protoss.
It's okay having a lot of biotop, but if you have not really many medevacs to deal with this, and you know that we've got the dream combo of Splash as well. Storm, Colossus, 6 DTs being warped in somewhere. I have no idea where, but whenever a Protoss is going for blink DTs, you know that chaos is going to ensue.
That was the bottom left-hand side base, where he's adding more gates as well. HellraiseR's economy is just so insane in this game. He's got so many bases.
I wonder if these DTs in the bottom left, by the way, are going to find their target there in that hidden base. By the way, this base had like 30 SCVs on it for so long, so that work account was very deceiving. Takes out the PF here.
Yeah, HellraiseR's using the mobility of his army against the Liberators so well, just dancing left, right, now gonna run straight into that orbital command. That would be the most worst scan of all time! He kills all of the Dark Templars with one single scan before they can do anything.
That is so pricey. And the thing is, HellraiseR thinks he's way more ahead than he is right now because he doesn't know about that base. He thinks he's been kind of starving him here. Kelazhur's got himself in a bit of a rough spot because he has to go up that ramp using a small section of his army. He does snipe off a High Templar, going for another one as well. He's doing this as well as he can, but it's still a rough spot for him.
Actually, he killed a good amount of High Templars, but there's still 7 left over. And some of those are actually back inside of the bases of HellraiseR, kind of covering these areas to make sure that if anything counters attack. To storm.
Okay, now this is a hit squad if I've ever seen one. HellraiseR's rich. Oh, and he's going to the bottom side of the map. This is so crucial because if he goes to this base and he spots it now, there is no way you can keep that base alive. Blink DTs on the PF. This is his main economy just going down the drain. Yeah. 41 workers now for Kelazhur.
He's mining of that single base here right now that he has his Kelazhur, whereas on the other side of the map, we've got an Oracle cleaning up the bio that was attacking or counter-attacking. Oh, and HellraiseR defends perfectly.
His armies are so strong on both sides, and Kelazhur,
look at the income.
He's collecting his forces though, and right now there's quite a lot of HellraiseR to spot at the top here. By the way, there's no Vikings to deal with 5 Colossi.
Yeah.
This is really scary.
It's all about those Liberators. Can they make the difference? HellraiseR is still dancing around those liberation zones. Kelazhur is trying to corner him here.
Oh, the Blink DTs though, they're going to murder all the SCVs on this base. How many DTs can you make? In fact, can he even deal with the DTs? No! HellraiseR, the hometown hero, takes it 3-1 against Kelazhur. What a performance. What a match. Oh, and he's reveling in it. Playing so well. HellraiseR, he's had his ups and downs, but this was definitely an up. He's now making it pretty deep into the WCS, and he's been doing it